All right, guys, today's video, we're going to be talking about how you're hurting your running. And I am just as guilty of this as any other athlete because over the years, I tried to run through injuries, was constantly worried about what other athletes were running and trying to measure up with their particular performances. One of the best things that you can do is just to focus on what you can control as an athlete. You cannot control how the weather is going to be on the morning of your race, or you can get an idea of what the weather will be like on the morning of the race, but ultimately you're in control of how you think and how you handle challenges when they come up. One of the worst things that you can do as a runner, though, is to worry about what other athletes are doing. The only thing that you can focus on is yourself. And over the years, I made that major mistake of worrying about if running higher volume was going to get me better results, and thinking that that was going to be the answer. In terms of how you're hurting your running, though, is you can possibly, if you have an injury and you continue to run through this, and you continue to have your ego take over, there are things that are going to be caused by that. And one of the biggest problems, obviously, is you're going to be dealing with an injury that you definitely do not have to handle and deal with. Otherwise, if you focused on just backing off and either taking a week off completely, rather than continuing to run through an injury. Another big problem I had over the years too was just running too many miles too easy. If you're having problems getting faster as a middle to long distance runner, pay attention to how you're setting up your training and look at how many miles you're running at paces that are far too slow. A big problem a lot of athletes have in terms of hurting your running is you're second guessing and you're doubting yourself, when the problem really isn't anything that has to do with your capability. It's just you need to tweak how you're setting up your training. You need to realize, look at your training, find out what percentage of your weekly mileage you're running at paces that are just simply far too slow to run at the paces that you're trying to run in your race. When I talk to athletes that are trying to run specific times for their particular event, I've had numerous athletes try to, tell me, well, I want to break 3 hours, but I'm having problems being able to, for the marathon, and I'm having problems being able to sustain the pace for the entire duration of the race. Well, I always ask them, well, what are you doing in training? Where are the leaks in your training that are causing you this problem? Or is it something psychological? To break a 3-hour marathon, you have to hold 4:16 per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers in a row with no breaks, or 6 minutes and 52 seconds per mile for 26.2 miles. That takes somebody that has a very high level of anaerobic capability to be able to sustain that for the entire race. So I always dig into what are the specifics of that athlete's preparation leading into their race. How much time are they spending each week running closer to around 6 minutes and 10 seconds per mile, or faster, or under 6-minute mile pace? Or are they running well under 4 minutes per K pace in training? So you're hurting your running by not running fast enough, especially if you're trying to run a particular time for the distance. If you're somebody that's just, you enjoy the sport, you want to get out and you want to experience what a marathon feels like, to start and finish a marathon, you don't have to focus so much on the specifics, the technical aspects of racing, because your focus is more to enjoy the sport and to get out and experience what it feels like to run a 5K or a 10K or a marathon. Maybe your interest is not to break a 2:30 marathon or to run 50 minutes for the 10K. Your goal is just to enjoy getting out the door and enjoying what it feels like to run in a race. So when we hurt ourselves in terms of our running, we hurt ourselves by, one, worrying about things that are just simply out of our control, focusing too heavily on mileage rather than quality, and we get very caught up at times, and I know I'm guilty of it too, because over the years I would focus on thinking that higher mileage was the answer to running faster for up, the 5K to the marathon distance, and that wasn't always the case. In fact, I ran most of very poorly when I got up to 140 miles a week training for the marathon, and I set personal best for the marathon when I was running between 85 and 90 miles a week. So it's not about mileage, it's not about working harder. You got to continue to focus on working smarter. What are the athletes that are using leverage? What are they doing to get better results than these athletes that are running much higher mileage but still aren't meeting their objectives? Because one, they may be, like I said, they may be spending far too much time running too slow, or too much mileage running too easy. So you have to have that combination of training at very hard anaerobic work intensities, but also have the discipline to slow down and to relax on those easy days when you absolutely need it. If you're hurting your running, you're going to be hurting your running by running too fast for too many days of the week. And if you're not allotting that time after those hard anaerobic workouts, you're not going to get a return on your investment, not to the extent that you're wanting. And another way we hurt ourselves in terms of middle to long distance runners is we expect results far too fast. It took me from 1992 till 2007 to break a 2-hour and 20-minute marathon. So I wanted to run a time like that many years prior to that, but I had to, learn my lesson and realize that higher mileage wasn't the answer. And also, I had to give myself enough time to get to a point where I was up to that capability. Like I said in other videos, I don't have a lot of talent. I never did have a lot of talent, but I had a great amount of work ethic. And that's probably the same goes for you. Most athletes weren't blessed with, great physiological genetic talent. But a lot of the athletes that were lacking talent were just simply stubborn enough to continue to train for many years, whereas the talented athlete probably would have got their results within maybe a year or two. The less talented but very hard-working athlete who had to rely on their work ethic probably got their results maybe 10 years later. So it's really just a matter of you having that stickability and having that mindset and motivation to continue to pursue what you're wanting to do, regardless how long it's going to take. So we hurt ourselves when we rush the process and we think that we're going to get what we want overnight or within a few weeks or a few months. It takes time. So don't get discouraged. Don't let your past experiences dictate what you're going to do in the future. Surround yourself with positive associates. Stay in the environment where you're going to get forced to get out of your comfort zone on a regular basis. If you want to be a great middle to long distance runner, you must have that mindset that I'm going to pursue this goal that I have, and I'm going to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes until I get that result. So that's my overview of how you may be hurting your running and what you need to be thinking about in order to change that problem. A big problem and a big mistake that we all make, like I said, is not believing in delayed gratification. We want results, we want quick results, and we expect that, if we're in phenomenal shape and we're doing great workouts, that is going to guarantee us results in the race, which it doesn't always guarantee you results. You have to think outside the box, and it's not about just working hard. It's about finding what are the leaks in your training. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you hydrating well enough before and after your workouts? Are you paying attention to your nutrition? Are you mentally rehearsing and visualizing success? How much time are you spending worrying about things that you should not need to be worried about in the first place? So I hope this video has been helpful for you all. If you have any other specific questions or concerns, anything I can help you out with, feel free to leave me a comment below this video. If you're brand new to the channel, click that bell icon and subscribe button so when I make a new video, you'll be notified. And again, if there's anything I can help you all out with, whether it's a physiological problem you're having, a psychological issue that you may have or have had in the past, definitely let me know. I'm always here to help you all out and give back to the sport that's given so much to me as well as a middle to long distance athlete myself. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you all in the next video.